Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am VC Pramod and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates two-day All India Presiding Officers Conference in Kevadia, Gujarat. Says Indian democratic institutions are gaining more strength. Kumar elected as the Bihar Assembly Speaker. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.72%. Several parts of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh receive heavy rain. Cyclonic storm River intensifies into severe cyclonic storm. Central and state disaster management teams and defense forces on standby for assistance. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. President Ramnath Kovind has said that the biggest challenge before the public representatives and democratic institutions is to meet the expectations of the public. Inaugurating the 80th All India Conference of the Presiding Officers at Kevadia in Gujarat, he said it is expected from the public representatives that they always remain honest towards the principles of democracy. He said that the Indian institutions are gaining more strength at the time when democratic institutions are being questioned around the world.
आज जब विश्व के अनेक देशों में लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं पर सवाल उठाए जाने लगे हैं, तब भारत की मिट्टी में लोकतंत्र की प्राचीन जड़ें और भी मजबूत हो रही हैं। हमारे देश की संसद और विधानसभाएं हमारी संसदीय व्यवस्था का आधार हैं। उन पर देशवासियों की नियति के निर्धारण का महत्वपूर्ण दायित्व है। पिछले कुछ दशकों में आम जनमानस की आशाओं, आकांक्षाओं और जागरूकता में लगातार बढ़ोतरी हुई है। इसलिए संसद एवं विधान मंडलों की भूमिका व जिम्मेदारियां और भी बढ़ गई हैं। जनप्रतिनिधियों से यह अपेक्षा की जाती है कि वे लोकतंत्र के सिद्धांतों के प्रति सदैव निष्ठावान रहें। लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाओं और जनप्रतिनिधियों के सामने सबसे बड़ी चुनौती जनता की अपेक्षाओं पर खरा उतरने की है।
Stating that Indian ancient books have mentions of democratic values, the President said our founding fathers gave a final form to these sentiments in the Constitution. President said that Indian Parliament has carved a special place in the people's mind as an institute promoting healthy discussion and encouraging efforts on people's participation.
भारत की संसद ने जन भागीदारी को बढ़ावा देने के प्रयासों और स्वस्थ चर्चा को प्रोत्साहित करने वाले निकाय के रूप में लोगों के हृदय में एक विशेष स्थान बनाया है। इसी प्रकार राज्यों की विधानसभाएं और विधान परिषदें भी लोगों की आशाओं और आकांक्षाओं को मुखरित करने का सशक्त माध्यम बनी है। सभी पीठासीन अधिकारीगण लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था जनता के कल्याण का सर्वाधिक प्रभावी माध्यम सिद्ध हुई है। इसलिए संसद एवं विधान मंडल का सदस्य होना अपने आप में सभी के लिए गौरव की बात है।
The President expressed happiness that this conference is being held at the Statue of Unity, the world's tallest statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu in his address said that harmonious coordination between legislature, executive and judiciary is a key to a vibrant democracy.
I prefer to call presiding officers the high priests of temples of democracy. You are mandated with upholding sanctity of the sanctum sanctorium of these temples. This has to be kept in mind by everyone. We consider our state to be its best state when each of the three organs of the state perform to the best of its potential.
Lok Sabha Speaker and Chairman of the conference, Om Birla, called upon all participating presiding officers to think about the constitutional responsibility on Constitution Day. He also appealed the presiding officers to take oath for fulfilling the target set by our great leaders.
अभी तक सभी माननीय अध्यक्षों ने सदन की गरिमा को ऊपर उठाने का काम किया है और हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि हम सदन की कार्रवाई चलाते समय बिना किसी पक्ष विपक्ष के सबको साथ लेकर सदन चलाएं। 4 सत्र अभी तक इस लोकसभा के अंदर हुए हैं। हर सत्र में हमने हमारी उत्पादकता को भी बढ़ाई, हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी भी ठीक करी है, हमने प्रोसीजर भी ठीक किए हैं।
The theme of this year's conference is Harmonious Coordination of Legislative, Executive and Judiciary, Key to a Vibrant Democracy.
Constitution Day or Samvidhan Divas will be celebrated across the country tomorrow. The day is also known as the National Law Day and commemorates the adoption of the Constitution in India. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of the country formally adopted the Constitution of India, which came into force on 26 January 1950. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in the year 2015 notified the decision of the government to celebrate 26 November as Constitution Day. The day is celebrated to promote values of the Constitution among citizens. The day is also celebrated as a mark of tribute to India's first Law Minister, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who played a pivotal role in drafting the Constitution. AIR News brings you an excerpt of an archived speech of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar delivered in the Constituent Assembly on the 17th of December 1946.
And it is for that I propose to make this appeal. Let us leave aside slogan. Let us leave aside words which frighten people. Let us even make concession to the prejudices of our opponents. Bring them in so that they may willingly join with us on marching upon that road, which, as I said, if we walk long enough, must necessarily lead us to unity.
Senior BJP leader and NDA nominee Kumar was today elected as the new Speaker of the Bihar Assembly. Pro-Tem Speaker Jiten Ram Manki announced election result of the Assembly Speaker. Mr. Manki said Kumar got 126 votes, while Grand Alliance candidate Awadh Bihari Chaudhary got 114 votes. Opposition parties were demanding secret voting for election of Assembly Speaker. They were protesting presence of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and his two cabinet colleagues, as were not members of the Assembly. Chief Minister and two ministers Ashok Chaudhary and Mukesh Sahani are members of the upper house. New Bihar Assembly Speaker Kumar is a four-time MLA from Shekhpura constituency. In previous Nitish Kumar-led government, Mr. Sinha was Labour Minister. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, Deputy Chief Minister Tarkishore Prasad and Renu Devi congratulated the new Assembly Speaker. Besides opposition leader Tejaswi Yadav, Congress leader Ajit Sharma, Hindustani Awam Morcha HM leader Jiten Ram Manki, Vikashsheel Insan Party VIP leader Mukesh Sahani and CPI ML Mehboob Alam also congratulated the new Speaker.
India has leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID. The number of new daily cases have been below the 50,000 mark for 18 consecutive days. In the last 24 hours, nearly 44,000 new confirmed cases were reported, while nearly 38,000 people recovered successfully in the same time span. With cumulative recovery of more than 86,42,000 people so far, the national recovery rate has reached 93.72%. The recovered cases in the country stands at nearly 20 times the number of active cases. The active caseload of the country also continues to remain below 5%. The total active cases in the country today stands at 4,44,746, which comprises merely 4.82% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has informed that nearly 77% of the new COVID cases are concentrated in 10 states and union territories. The Health Ministry has said the fatality rate stands at 1.46% and 481 case fatalities were reported in the past 24 hours. Nearly 11,60,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached nearly 13 crore 49 lakhs. The central government and ICMR have scaled up the testing infrastructure in a calibrated manner. India's testing capacity has touched 15 lakh per day, ensuring easily accessible COVID-19 tests for all. Health Ministry has said that very high levels of testing led to early identification, prompt isolation and effective treatment of COVID-19 cases. It said this also leads to low fatality rate. Higher volumes of testing have also ensured lower daily positivity rate, which stands at around 3.5%. Starting from just one testing lab at the National Institute of Virology, Pune, in January this year, the country today has 2,138 labs for testing COVID samples, which include 1,167 government and 971 private labs.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi informed the nation it will be ensured that COVID-19 vaccine for citizens will meet all necessary scientific criteria. He stressed that just like the focus in the fight against COVID has been on saving each and every life, the priority will be to ensure that the vaccine reaches everyone. The Prime Minister has reassured that the government is keenly watching the development of COVID-19 vaccines. Mr. Modi said the government is in contact with Indian developers and manufacturers, along with global regulators, governments of other countries, multilateral institutions, and international companies on vaccine development. The Prime Minister made his remarks during a high-level meeting held with chief ministers of all states and union territories via video conferencing yesterday to review the status and preparedness of COVID-19 response and management. During the meeting, the Prime Minister noted that the priority of the vaccination has been decided in consultation with the states, and the requirements of additional cold chain storages has also been discussed with the states. Mr. Modi asked the chief ministers to ensure regular monitoring of the state-level steering committee and the state and district-level task force to ensure better results. The Prime Minister remarked that the country is facing the pandemic through concerted efforts and in terms of both recovery rate and fatality rate, and the situation in India is much better than most other countries.
आज रिकवरी रेट और फर्टिलिटी रेट दोनों ही मामलों में भारत दुनिया के अधिकतर देशों से बहुत संभली हुई स्थिति में। हम सभी के अथक प्रयासों से देश में टेस्टिंग से लेकर ट्रीटमेंट का एक बहुत बड़ा नेटवर्क आज काम कर रहा है। इस नेटवर्क का लगातार विस्तार भी किया जा रहा है। पीएम केयर्स के माध्यम से ऑक्सीजन और वेंटिलेटर्स उपलब्ध कराने पर भी विशेष जोर है। कोशिश ये है कि देश के मेडिकल कॉलेज और जिला अस्पतालों को ऑक्सीजन जनरेशन के मामले में सेल्फ सफिशिएंट बनाया जाए। इसलिए अभी 160 से ज्यादा नए ऑक्सीजन प्लांट्स के निर्माण की प्रक्रिया ऑलरेडी शुरू की गई है। पीएम केयर फंड से देश के अलग अलग अस्पतालों को हजारों नए वेंटिलेटर्स मिलने भी सुनिश्चित हुए हैं।
Prime Minister reiterated that it is important to increase RT-PCR tests, ensure better monitoring of patients, especially those in home isolation, better equip health centers at village and community level, and keep running awareness campaigns for safety from the virus. Prime Minister also cautioned against any complacency in the fight against COVID-19. The Prime Minister observed that after seeing good recovery rates, many think that the virus is weak and cautioned this has led to rampant carelessness. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, and Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul were also present in the meeting. In Himachal Pradesh, new cases of corona infection are increasing rapidly. In the last 24 hours, 1,031 new cases of corona have been confirmed. This is the highest single-day spike of new cases recorded so far in the state. The cases of COVID-19 in Shimla district also continue to increase, and 412 new cases have been registered since Tuesday morning. COVID-19 tally has gone up to 35,812 in the state. So far, 572 people have died due to corona in the state. On the other hand, in view of the sharp rise in COVID-19 cases, the state government has started the Him Suraksha Abhiyan to make people aware of the COVID-19 pandemic. This campaign has been launched from today and will continue till the coming 27th of next month. It is aimed at sensitizing the people regarding COVID-19 pandemic and also collecting information regarding symptoms of diseases like TB, leprosy, sugar, blood pressure by door-to-door campaign throughout the state.
In Maharashtra, the new set of SOPs for persons travelling to the state by air, train or road from Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat and Goa have come into effect. According to the SOP, air travellers have to get their COVID test done within 72 hours of their flight, and train passengers should get the test done within 96 hours of their arrival in Maharashtra. The SOP also stated that passengers not having the RT-PCR test reports fulfilling conditions shall compulsorily undergo the said test at the concerned airports or railway stations at their own cost.
Amid the spike in cases of COVID-19 in Maharashtra, the new set of standard operating procedure has come into effect from today. The SOP states that if a passenger has not undertaken the test, then they shall compulsorily undergo RT-PCR test at the concerned airports or railway stations at their own cost. Only after undertaking the test, the passengers will be allowed to go home by the concerned authorities. It further said that passengers whose report comes positive will be contacted and treated as per existing protocol. Also, passengers not testing found COVID positive shall be sent to COVID care center for further care. On the other hand, in a step towards strictly adhering to the SOP, medical checkups of passengers arriving from neighbouring Goa and Gujarat has been undertaken at various checkposts. The checkup has been conducted by the teams from health and revenue departments. Meanwhile, ahead of the Kartiki Ekadashi tomorrow, the district administration in Pandharpur has imposed curfew. Along with Pandharpur, the curfew has been imposed in neighbouring 10 villages privileges as well. It will be lifted on the midnight of 26th November. The measure has been taken to prevent congregation of devotees in temple town of Pandharpur. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Tripura registered 59 new cases of coronavirus, while 72 patients were discharged from hospitals after recovery from the virus in the past 24 hours. With this, the tally rose to 32,493. So far, 31,345 people infected with coronavirus have been cured, while recovery rate has further improved to 96.54%. Presently, 755 infected people are undergoing treatment in different COVID care centers. The State Health Bulletin stated that 5,15,455 samples have been tested till yesterday evening. Out of the total samples tested, 4,82,962 persons have been found negative for the infection.
In Mizoram, 35 fresh cases of coronavirus infections were reported in the past 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID-19 positive cases rose to 3,745. The recovery rate has also further improved to 88.89%. According to the State Medical Bulletin, the state has also recorded 95 cases of recovery of coronavirus infections in the past 24 hours. So far, 3,298 people have been discharged from different COVID care centers. The number of active cases presently stands at 407. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates two-day All India Presiding Officers Conference in Kevadia, Gujarat, says Indian democratic institutions are gaining more strength. Kumar Sinha elected as a Bihar Assembly Speaker. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.72%. Several parts of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh receive heavy rain. Cyclonic storm River intensifies into a severe cyclonic storm. Central and state disaster management teams and defense forces on standby for assistance. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
Heavy and incessant rain is pounding Chennai and its suburbs and several other districts in Tamil Nadu since this morning due to the severe cyclone River in the Bay of Bengal. The storm intensified into a severe cyclonic storm early this morning. The Met Department has said the weather system has moved west-northwestwards with a speed of 7 kilometers per hour during the past 6 hours and lay centered at about 240 kilometers east-southeast of Kadalur, 300 kilometers east-southeast of Puducherry and 250 kilometers south-southeast of Chennai. It is very likely to intensify further into a very severe cyclonic storm in the next 12 hours. It is set to move northwestwards and cross Tamil Nadu and Puducherry coast between Karaikal and Mamallapuram close to Puducherry during midnight today and early hours of tomorrow as a very severe cyclonic storm with a wind speed of 120 to 130 kilometers per hour, gusting to 145 kilometers per hour. More from our correspondent.
The Chembarambakkam Lake in Chengalpattu district, which is the largest water body catering to the needs of Chennai, has reached almost its full reservoir level. Therefore, water has been released into the river Adayar by 1,000 cusecs since this noon. And the officials have said the outflow will be increased gradually based on the rain activity in its catchment areas. The people living closer to the river have been issued flood alert. Those living in low-lying areas have been asked to move to the relief camps. The Chennai Corporation officials have have ordered the removal of all the hoardings in the city by this noon, as the Cyclone River is predicted to have a landfall with ferocious wind speed. Throughout the state, 3,344 shelters have been kept ready to accommodate people from affected areas whenever required. More than 1,500 irrigation lakes have reached their full level in the state so far, and the inflow is fast increasing in many other water bodies. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea, and the people in coastal areas are also being evacuated to shelter houses. Sporadic rains with heavy winds lashed Puducherry from today morning onwards, since the Cyclone River over southwest Bay of Bengal lay centered about 320 kilometers southwest of Puducherry. Meanwhile, the Puducherry District Administration has completed all arrangements to face any eventuality arising out of the cyclone, which is expected to cross near Puducherry tonight.
According to official sources, relief and rehabilitation camps were arranged and people from vulnerable areas shifted. Rescue teams, including NDRF personnel and trained fire service and police personnel, were kept ready and round-the-clock functioning control room set up. Meanwhile, Puducherry Lieutenant Governor Dr. Kiran Pedi appealed to the people of Puducherry to stay indoor and safe.
Requesting the people of Puducherry to please stay indoors and abide by the instructions being given by the local administration. The entire government machinery is at your service and is taking care. Just listen to them and go by the rules and regulations being declared. Move to high places wherever you need to. There are relief centers. Please move there and abide by instructions.
Police security was arranged on the beach road to prevent anyone coming to the beach, as the sea remained extremely rough with the waves to a height of 15 feet. Cyclone warning signal 10 was hoisted at the Puducherry port. Chandramohan, AR News, Puducherry.
Cyclone River's impact is visible in Sri Potti Sri Ramulu Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh. NDRF teams have been deployed in Andhra Pradesh for relief and rescue operations. A report from our Vijayawada correspondent.
The severe cyclonic storm Nivar lay centered at 5:30 hours today about 290 km east-southeast of Cuddalore. This is to intensify further and will cross Tamil Nadu, Puducherry coast during midnight of today and early hours of 26th as a very severe cyclonic storm. The IMD Amravati says moderate rains or thunderstorms are very likely over entire Andhra Pradesh, with isolated heavy to very heavy rains at one or two places of south coastal Andhra Pradesh and Rayalaseema. Extremely heavy rain likely to occur at Sri Potti Sri Ramulu Nellore and Chittoor districts today and at Kurnool on 26th tomorrow. Dr. G. Kondalrao, AIR News, Vijayawada.
The defence forces have mobilized teams and assets to help the states of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry during and after the cyclone. Centres assured all necessary assistance to governments of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh in view of the cyclonic storm Nivar. Chairing the National Crisis Management Committee NCMC meeting through video conferencing, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba said the aim should be to ensure minimum damage and that there is no loss of life. Mr. Gauba said normalcy should be restored in power, telecom and other important sectors in the shortest possible time.
Senior Congress leader Ahmed Patel died at a Gurgaon hospital this morning. He was 71. The veteran politician had been at a private hospital since his health worsened after a COVID infection. In a tweet at around 4 a.m., his son, Faisal Patel, said that the Rajya Sabha MP from Gujarat had passed away at 3:30 a.m. today. Messages of condolences and tributes poured in soon after the announcement of Mr. Patel's death. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the demise of the veteran Congress leader Ahmed Patel. In a tweet, President Ramnath Kovind said that an astute parliamentarian, Ahmed Patel combined the skills of a strategist and the charm of a mass leader. He said his amiability won him friends across party lines. In a tweet, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said Ahmed Patel was an able parliamentarian and always maintained cordial relations with leaders across the political spectrum. Prime Minister Narendra Modi remembered the seasoned politician, saying Ahmed Patel is known for his sharp mind and his role in strengthening the Congress party would always be remembered. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually attend the celebration of the Centennial Foundation Day of the University of Lucknow today. Prime Minister will unveil the university's centennial commemorative coin on the occasion. He will also release a special commemorative postal stamp issued by the Indian Post at its special cover during the event. Defence Minister, Uttar Pradesh Governor and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister will also be present on the occasion.
The third Global Renewable Energy Investment Meeting and Expo Reinvest 2020 will be held tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually inaugurate the event. During the two-day virtual conference, all the leading companies will display their latest technological development in the field of renewable energy and discuss various options available for energy transition. Several world leaders, energy ministers of 70 countries and 200 eminent speakers will take part in the event. Talking exclusively to AIR about the Reinvest 2020 Meet and Expo, Minister of State for Power, New and Renewable Energy R.K. Singh said $64 billion worth of investment have been made in the renewable energy sector in the past 5 to 6 years. He said this is one of the sectors which attracted such a large chunk of foreign direct investment into India.
Our nationally determined target was that by 2030, 40% of our installed capacity will come from renewables. Renewables meaning wind, solar, hydro. Today, we are one of the fastest growing countries insofar as renewable energy capacity is concerned. If you take the renewable energy capacity which has been installed and which is under installation, it comes to about 1,90,000. Now, which is near about 60% of our total installed capacity, which is 372,000 megawatts. So we have not only achieved the goal which we had set for ourselves to be achieved by 2030.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Manki program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It will be the 71st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. Citizens can share their suggestions for the upcoming Manki dialogue through Namo app, MyGov forum or through toll-free telephone number 1800-117800.
The Divisional Railway Manager of the Bengaluru Division, Ashok Kumar Verma, flagged off the first ever export-bound new modified goods rake from Hosur Railway Station to Bangladesh. The rake, consisting of 25 wagons loaded with 100 light commercial vehicles, left Hosur Station yesterday for its destination of Benapole Railway Station in Bangladesh, about 2,121 kilometers away. This is the first modified goods rake dispatched by the South Western Railways to Bangladesh. The countries across the world are today observing International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, an initiative of the United Nations General Assembly. International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women is a global advocacy effort aimed at preventing and eliminating instances of violence in all forms against women. As per the United Nations report, violence against women and girls is one of the most widespread human rights violations in the world. Instances of such violence largely go unreported and remain hidden because of the stigma surrounding it. The campaign aims to spread awareness about the issue.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital will have partly cloudy sky with temperatures varying between 11 and 23 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear and temperature will vary between 22 and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Temperature will hover between 24 and 28 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. City observed a minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and is likely to experience maximum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. Jammu witnessed a minimum temperature of 12 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 18 degrees. Srinagar will have rain or snow. Minimum temperature was 0 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 4 degrees. In Leh there will be light snow. Gilgit will experience light snow with temperature hovering between -2 degrees to 7 degrees. Muzaffarabad is likely to have thunderstorms with rain. The temperature will move from 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, temperature is hovering between 9 and 22 degrees Celsius. Sky will be partly cloudy with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. President Ramnath Kovind inaugurates two-day All India Presiding Officers Conference in Kevadia, Gujarat. Says Indian democratic institutions are gaining more strength. Vijay Kumar Sinha elected as the Bihar Assembly Speaker. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 93.72%. Several parts of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Andhra Pradesh receive heavy rain. Cyclonic storm Nivar intensifies into severe cyclonic storm. Central and state disaster management teams and defense forces on standby for assistance. And with that, we end the midday news.